The genesis is the no such thing as an agile coach, and I'm going to rip and say there's no such thing as an agile trainer, and maybe there's a corollary to that, and a corollary, sort of a related set of discussions. And so, what about trainers? So they support the agile industrial complex. Not all trainers are experienced. I remember, and this example remain unnamed, but I remember a CST, probably been training for at least 15 years, probably 20 years, and I think the original examples were in COBOL, and they're probably still teaching the language as COBOL. I'm kidding a little bit, but I'm not. And so not upgraded their skills, and they're still training. So we talk about coaches and maybe losing their relevancy, and what is that doing to the community? And I think it may even be more impactful. What about the massive trainings that we've done of certification mills and things like that? And are people training who shouldn't be training? And I personally think, the answer is yes. And very often I find that trainers slam coaches. At least my experience is in the Scrum Alliance to some degree. There's discrepancies in view and respect between trainers and coaches. But most of the trainers couldn't coach to save their lives either. So and it's not about the coaching, it's about how can you slam something if you can't do it? How can you slam something if you don't understand what it is, etc. And then they ran. My challenge would be to go coach. I would challenge every trainer to do a couple things. So go coach for a year. Don't do any training. So your entire revenue stream is related to your ability to coach, and to coach the way we're talking about it. I'm not talking about mediocre coaching. I'm talking about badass coaching. I'm talking about making an impact, and go make your revenue stream off of that for a year, and then come back and get balanced. Or go, if you're teaching Scrum Master courses, go be a Scrum Master. Ask yourself, when was the last time I was actually in the trenches as a Scrum Master? A little while back, I was talking to someone, and they were like, I took a product owner class, and the person teaching it had never been a product owner. And part of my head wanted to sort of explode. I don't know if that's okay. Maybe it's okay, maybe it's not. And what is that doing? What is that doing to the dilution of value from a macro community point of view? I think in general we want to, not isolate to one role, or etc. But I'd like to include trainers in that. And that was my dangerous question. I've done sampling over the years. For example, one of the more recent, Cal, the Scrum Alliance has something called the Certified Agile Leader. I've taught it. And I looked at some point in the past, maybe 5 years ago, I looked at LinkedIn. So I looked at the community. I had free time and curiosity. So I looked at the training. I put a spreadsheet together. I listed all the trainers who were certified to train it. And then I put together a rubric that said how much leadership experience. And it was very light. And I looked at all of their LinkedIn profiles. So it's based on their LinkedIn profiles. I'm like, how many of them passed the rubric and have leadership experience to teach a leadership class? And it was 30% was the answer. So 30% of the trainers at the time, and I'm not picking on the Scrum Alliance. I bet this same thing is applicable. Roughly those percentages are probably applicable to most trainers. But I don't know. And trainers. And that's part of, that made me sad. So people were coaching in one way and shouldn't be coaching. Well, what about people who are training and having tremendous influence, right? Setting up these, excited Scrum Masters, jazzing them up for 2 days, and then sending them back into the organization. So it's a bit of a rant, a bit of different challenge or a different question. But I think there's two sides to it, and that's where I went. And I want them to. I think we should be challenging them equally. And for some reason, people don't challenge trainers. I don't know, not many. I've written about it off and on for a while, but I think we should be challenging both. That's my pitch. I'm going to stick to it.